What's up, Taiwan? I'm Rik Glauert with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Featherweight boxer Lin Yu-ting has become the first Taiwanese in history to advance to the gold medal round at the Olympics. Lin's 5-0 unanimous decision win against Turkey's Ersa Yildiz Karaman guarantees Taiwan its first ever silver medal in the sport. After losing to Lin, Yildiz made an X with her hands, seemingly a reference to the double X chromosomes most women have. Lin's competition has been overshadowed by questions about her sex, which started after she failed an undisclosed test delivered by the International Boxing Association in 2023. The IBA has since been stripped of its role as boxing's governing body. Lin is cleared to compete and will get her chance at gold on Saturday. Olympic boxer Lin Yu-ting is the talk of her hometown in northern Taiwan, where a crowd gathered to watch her win in the semi-final bout. John Van Trieste looks at the celebration and at what's next for the athlete.
Cheering on a hometown hero, Olympic featherweight boxer Lin Yu-ting has beat her Turkish rival to advance to the gold medal match. Along the way, she's had to overcome not just her opponents, but a wave of vitriol sparked by rumors about her gender, rumors the IOC says are baseless. But back in Lin's birthplace of New Taipei, there's nothing but support. Even the mayor has turned out to watch her compete and give her a congratulatory call. Here's what Lin had to say to her fans. And one person at the watch party had something personal to say. Her mother. Lin Yu-ting's gold medal bout will be on Saturday. She and her coach both say they're ready. But back in her hometown, New Taipei, there are already signs she can expect a hero's welcome, whatever the outcome. Patrick Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
A third group of Olympians has returned home from Paris. Among them are gymnastics bronze medalist Tang Jia-hong. Tang placed third in the men's horizontal bar final, scoring 13.9. During the event, he fell to the ground and thought he'd lost his chance to bag a medal, but quickly recovered and completed his routine. Back in Taiwan, Tang is looking at what's next.
在未来的规划是希望可以在过程中再加转一圈这样子。对，那再加转一圈最少会升个2级。
Taiwanese Olympic medalist in Taekwondo, Luo Jialing, is getting ready to compete in this year's Summer Games in Paris. Sandy Chi caught up with Luo's parents, who have just arrived in the French capital ahead of her first match on Thursday.
So we understand that Luo Jialing is ready to compete in her second Olympics. How is she doing now?
应该是讲很期待啦，因为跆拳道的比赛有时候真的是不确定因素很多。 尤其他这一阵子有伤在身，所以我们是觉得说，健康上场，然后其他的就是看临场表现吧。
As you have mentioned about her injury, how is she managing it?
目前练习都还算是正常 OK 的，但是因为骨裂的部分，他比较怕的是碰撞啊，所以后半段的这一段练习的话，我们是都没有练习碰撞的部分。 那碰撞的部分就要看场上，随机了。
他一定会可以他一定人家说的那个拳头握紧一点，自己要忍耐，全力以赴。
Is there anything you'd like to say to your daughter before she competes?
就尽力去拼吧。那希望能够比上一届的奥运成绩更好。
That was Luo Jialing's parents in Paris speaking to our reporter Sandy Chi. China is doubling down on punishing Taiwanese independent supporters, setting up a hotline for people to report such views and publishing a list of public figures it accuses of being die-hard separatists. The move reflects the rising tensions between Taiwan and China. Louise Watt is live for us in Taipei with more on this story. Louise, Who is on the list?
Well, Rick, there are 10 people on the list, and they are mostly figures from Taiwan's ruling DPP. And they're even current members of the government. They include the Defense Minister, Wellington Gu, the National Security Council Chief, Joseph Wu, and Taiwan's Vice President, Xiaobi Kim. Now, in a sense, there's nothing new about this because these 10 people have in the past already been sanctioned by Beijing for being, in Beijing's words, pro-Taiwan independence diehards. As they're already sanctioned, they're banned from visiting China, including Hong Kong, and they're banned from doing business in China as well. So there's nothing really that new about this, but what is new is that China's Taiwan Affairs Office, so that's the Chinese government agency in charge of relations with Taiwan, on their website they've created a new section, and at the top of this section there's the names of the 10 people, and if you scroll down you'll get to an email address, and that's for reporting other suspected independence diehards. Now, China has, of course, been stepping up pressure on Taiwan. In recent months, it's staged war games around Taiwan, it's increased Coast Guard patrols around Taiwan, and in June, China threatened to impose the death penalty on extreme die-hard Taiwanese independence separatists. Now, that move was condemned by Taipei and Washington, and Chinese courts don't have any jurisdiction over Taiwan. So with this latest case, the publication again of the list of diehards, it's not expected to have any practical effect. But what analysts within Taiwan are saying, they see it as an intimidation tactic, making an example of some people to strike fear into others, so they'll be careful about what they say because of what the consequences could be.
Louise, China considers President Lai a dangerous separatist, and yet he is not on this list of diehards. Why not?
That's right, Rick. President Lai is not on the list. Former President Tsai Ing-wen, she's not on the list either, and she was far from being one of Beijing's favorite people. Now, the most likely reason for them not being on the list is that top leaders are useful potential negotiation partners for Beijing. So if they were on the list, well, it means that Beijing has less room for maneuver in the future. Also, as one analyst who I've been speaking to today says, he thinks because actually there's not really anything new in this, it could simply be a bureaucratic, box-ticking exercise. It almost feels like staff within China's Taiwan Affairs Office are possibly trying to satisfy some internal performance indicator. But whatever the reason is, Taipei's response has been that China's creating more obstacles and doing more harm to cross-strait relations. And it says China should instead be trying to focus on creating positive interactions between Taiwan and China.
That was Louise Watt live for us in Taipei. Ukraine has launched a major attack into Russia, its biggest incursion into the country since the war began in February 2022. Ukrainian troops are believed to have captured a number of villages in the Kursk region amid heavy fighting with Russian troops. Rosie Greninger reports.
Large-scale damage in a Russian border town after Ukraine launched a major surprise offensive. Hundreds of Ukrainian troops crossed into southwestern Russia's Kursk region, seizing a handful of villages and storming at least 10 kilometers into Russian territory. The incursion, Ukraine's largest since the beginning of the war in February 2022. The unprecedented action prompting Russian President Vladimir Putin to address his government, calling it a major provocation.
В Курской области, как известно, киевский режим предпринял очередную масштабную провокацию, ведет неизбирательную стрельбу из разных видов оружия, в том числе ракетного, по гражданским зданиям, жилым домам, машинам скорой помощи.
Putin called an urgent meeting with his defense leadership. The Russian Defense Ministry says up to 300 Ukrainian troops and at least 30 armoured vehicles have crossed the border. They also confirmed shelling in the area has claimed the lives of 2 Russians and injured at least 24 more. The incursion forcing border authorities to implement a state of emergency and order the evacuation of several thousand people. Russia's military says they've stopped Ukraine forces and inflicted heavy casualties.
Действиями подразделений прикрытия государственной границы совместно с пограничниками и подразделениями усиления, ударами авиации, ракетных войск и огнем артиллерии.
But videos from Russian military bloggers circulating on social media suggest the situation is not under control, with fighting on the ground continuing for a second day. Ukrainian officials have so far remained silent about the scope of the operation. But some military experts believe the Ukrainians are trying to divert Russian forces away from the embattled Donetsk region, where Moscow has intensified attacks. The US says it's reaching out to Ukraine about its objectives, but reaffirms its support of the country.
We are going to continue to stay focused on making sure they have what they need to defend themselves against Russia's aggression.
The incursion comes as Ukrainian troops and resources are stretched thin on the front line of the war, which has been raging for more than 2 years. But now that Ukrainian forces have successfully pierced Russia's border, it's clear that Kyiv is far from finished fighting back. Dolphine Chen and Rosie Greninger for TaiwanPlus.
Thousands of people have marched peacefully across the UK to stand against racism after a spate of anti-immigrant riots. Britain has been shaken by a week of violent unrest, targeting Muslims and migrants. It was sparked by misinformation online that a Muslim asylum seeker was responsible for the murder of 3 young girls in a mass stabbing attack last week. Counter-protesters are calling on communities to come together against racism and hate. Many held signs and chanted that refugees are welcome. The police have dispatched 6,000 special officers to respond to any further violence. A months-long heatwave that's gripping South Korea has killed 18 people and left nearly 2,000 others with heat-related illnesses. Temperatures are topping 35 degrees Celsius during the day, and there's little respite at night, with temperatures staying over 25. The unusually high temperatures have killed more than 400,000 livestock, and 430,000 fish have also died, according to government agencies. Southern Taiwan is seeing an uptick in melioidosis, a bacterial infection linked to contaminated air, water, or soil. Infections often rise after heavy rainfall. 18 of Taiwan's recent cases follow rain brought by Typhoon Kami last month, and 3 people are in intensive care. The disease can be fatal, and its symptoms can include fever and difficulty breathing. Health officials are warning doctors to be on the lookout, but say case numbers should go down in the coming weeks. A unique puppet show has put the spotlight on Taiwan's cultural heritage at the Cultural Olympiad in Paris. Puppetry is a traditional Taiwanese storytelling art. In Paris, a puppet show called The Beautiful Island, Taiwan Formosa tells the story of the island nation's resilience in the face of adversity. Produced by Lin Yu-ting's Taipei Puppet Theatre, the show revolves around Taiwanese people resisting an evil force to keep peace. The Cultural Olympiad is taking place alongside the Olympic Games in Paris. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we leave you with images of the world's highest ice hockey game in Switzerland, taking place 11,000 feet above sea level. I'm Rik Glauert. Take care, and we will see you next time.